Merry meet, Annie here. Welcome to Monday on Pagan Perspective. Our topic this week came to us from Percival P8. And his question is, where should you draw the line in personal gain in terms of helping a loved one regain health, specifically? And I did go back, Percy, and read the email that you sent us when you originally sent this question in to us. And I would like to share just enough of it so that our viewers understand that you are not asking about how we take on healing, those of us who are talented with healing, whether by laying on hands or working with herbs or energy work or visualization. Your question wasn't about personal gain when it comes to that kind of healing. Your question was more specifically about the times that we are dealing in our lives with loved ones who are seriously ill, perhaps dying. And I'm going to extend that in my answer to the times when traumatic and sad things happened to those that we love. Because indeed, the crux of how we handle something at those times has to do with personal gain, and specifically taking that out of the picture. That's how it is to my view. You know, at my age, I've lost a lot of loved ones over the years. Some of those passings I had the opportunity to be with during the process of. Some of them were sudden and unexpected. I've lost many friends who were dear soulmates. I have lost friends to drug overdose and traffic accidents, domestic abuse, cancers, illnesses, things expected in the sense that we were with our loved one during the progression of an illness, and also things that were sudden and we were not able to be in the process at all. We just suddenly lost someone dear to us. When we are working as a healer in the sense of someone is ill or not feeling well or needs physical or emotional support, we're able at those times in our life, I think, to take out the sense of personal gain, because what we do on behalf of the person who isn't feeling well or needs our energy or support. It becomes much more difficult at the times in our life we are dealing with something very traumatic, something very sad, almost overwhelmingly sad. It becomes much more difficult to take us out of the picture. And when a loved one is very ill, even dying, we can, even if we are healers by nature, suddenly come up against this. What can I do? What can I do to make a difference here? How can I impact this situation? And we also are faced with, and I think that is the power of the question you have brought us to, for us to consider. Not only what can I do, but what should I do? Is there a line we need to draw? And this video is one that actually, it's one of the first times I've actually had to restart a video and rethink about how I wanted to present something. One of the challenges is I kept going back to times in my life when I was in the situation, and the emotions of that would overwhelm me. And in fact, that became the lesson to me of what matters the most about these situations to me is it is so difficult but necessary to back ourselves out, in the sense that someone's traumatic illness is about them more than it is about us. We need to make it not be about us, because we can be so involved in how we feel and our sadness and our anger if someone's about to leave. And it's not about that. It is more powerfully an experience of life for the person who is going through it, even if it is the last bit of their life here. Yes, we can do spell work and healing work and visualization for them to bring comfort, to impact their illness as we can. But I think in this instance we are actually referring to times when we know that something is going to go a certain way. We can impact comfort, we can impact someone's ability to deal with what they have to deal with. We can help them come to a sense of peace. We can do this by being with them and speaking with them, lending them energy to do what they want to do with it. But what we need to back out of that quotient is what's in it for us. It's not about assuaging our grief. It is not about hanging on to someone who is ill. As I have seen so many loved ones pass, and in some very sad ways over my years, one of the things that there is a beauty to the end of life, separate from how sad it is for those around, and sometimes for the person who is passing, who may be fighting the thought of passing, but there almost seems to be a settling in of life's purpose, which happens at the end of our lives. One of the most interesting things I have learned in life, and the thing which I do believe has benefited me the most, is that purpose at the end of our lives is not always about us. When a loved one is very ill or hurting, we want to make it better. We don't want them to suffer. Even if we can take ourselves out of the picture and make it about them, there is an interesting learning here that it is not even always about them. When we go through these times at the end of our lives, we make an impact, a touch, a powerful moment of contact on all who love us. We make that same moment of touch to healthcare providers and hospice workers, everyone that we come in contact with. We cannot know if anything we experience at this point of our life is truly even about us, even when it is our life that's hanging in the balance. We don't know what others are learning, how other people's lives will be changed. I have always felt that the one thing that gives me an idea that there is a sense of purpose to most of our lives is the experiences I've had as friends have come to the end of their life, as loved ones have come to the end of their life. The thing is, though, it's a touching on mystery, because we cannot know, as the person who is being with a loved one who is passing, we cannot know if we are the one who is at the end of our life, whose learning this is all about. It's touching on mystery. There is something vast and unknowable about this phase in our lives. Sometimes when people are at that point, the person who is ill comes to an understanding of the course and the value and the purpose of their life, and they leave on a peaceful exhale, no matter what trauma has led them to that point. And at other times, there is no feeling of rhyme or reason, although I have always witnessed peace at the end of the lives of those I've had the privilege of witnessing their passing. It just reminds me that sometimes it's someone else's learning that comes from the power of our passing. None of us, individually or communally, can guess what the purpose of some of these trials and sadnesses that we go through during life as well as end of life. The beauty of it is, to me, and it is only something that I have felt strongly in the last decade or so of my life, is that there is always a sense of purpose. Sometimes we know the wisdom that comes from these sad things. We know the peace that can come from them. We know how it affects people and the difference it has made, not only in the life of the person who is ill, but the lives of those who touch that person. And other times we don't know, because it's not about us. It's not about our loved one, but it will be about someone else in the orbit around that person. I truly believe that death has a purpose. The mystery of it is a purpose to whom, and how vast is the purpose? One of my elders taught that death was, as was life, the opportunity for the divine to experience and grow, and that our living and our dying actually was a part of the evolving and ever-growing process of the divine becoming more aware. I don't know that I agree or disagree with that. I do, in a sense, feel that there is an ever-expanding consciousness of the divine that we are part of. But that can feel too big and too confusing to me sometimes, and especially at times of sadness when I do not want to say goodbye to someone that I love who is passing. But what it does remind me once again is that this kind of illness or traumatic event, or a great sadness in someone's life that we love, is indeed a touching on mystery. It is one of those things that we can deal with at the level of faith, and a knowing that it matters. But what we can't really know is who it matters to. Sometimes it is very clear. I think of one of my very best friends who's been gone now for a bit of time, who fought a losing battle, a long and agonizing losing battle with cancer, and went into a coma actually for months at the end of that. And I was very intimately involved in her care. It never seemed that it was about her learning in this life. She railed about her illness until the very end, when indeed she did find peace. But the young surgeon who took care of her, the home practitioner who she was the first of his patients that he lost, her minister who spent so much time with her, I saw the impact it had on people around her. And it reinforced me what my elders had always said to me is, our human nature is to make it about us. We make our grief about us. If we are ill, we make why about us. But the truth of it, and indeed the beauty of it, is we can never know for sure. Yes, there are those moments when we experience something in life and powerfully know the lesson that we are meant to hold from it, and we can see it happen to other people in their lives. But then there are the times, and death so often seems to be this, that there is the beautiful part of mystery, that nothing is without purpose, nothing is accidental. Life is beautiful even in its passing, and even when those of us who don't want to say goodbye find ourselves in the picture, that personal gain thing about wanting to hang on to, wanting to change, working with healing for those who are critically ill, is different than healing someone's headache or their upset stomach, because we are more in the process of living and dying. And when we can take our personal self out of it and be with it and experience it, it actually, in a strange way, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a precious gift to be part of this in someone's life, and to count love as very powerful and know that that person's life had meaning to you, held meaning and purpose to them, and also, in so many ways we cannot conceive of, what they contribute to mystery and wisdom and the purpose that we all, individually and together, have in life. So my answer to Percy's question about where do you draw the line when it comes to personal gain is you take personal, in a way, out of the picture in these kinds of traumatic and very sad passings in our life. Be with that person, lend them your energy. Yes, we can do spell work to help them be strong and stand in the face of what they have to stand in the face of, and impact the parts of it that are responsive. But where we have to take out the personal is we have to understand there are things we will not be able to impact, and there are things we will never understand. And then there are the times, the huge, important times in our life when we do understand the purpose behind these great sadnesses. There are my thoughts on personal gain when we are in our lives in those times of being with, supporting, and wanting to impact the end of lifetimes for those that we love. I wish you mirth and reverence. Mary Part.